EUV versus DUV, precise English for chip analysts. Clear examples. Welcome. In chip manufacturing, EUV and DUV aren't interchangeable buzzwords. They describe two distinct lithography regimes with very different capabilities. If we blur them, analysts and operators can misread ramp risks, costs, and timelines. Saying advanced tools hides whether a fab can print the tightest layers or just add mature node capacity. Using precise language builds credibility, sharpens forecasts, and helps non-technical stakeholders follow the story. In this micro lesson, we'll clarify what each term really means, when to use it, and how to describe tool mixes and economics without hype. Just crisp, useful detail. Start with definitions. EUV operates at about 13.5 nanometers wavelength and enables leading-edge nodes, where tiny features demand single exposure resolution. DUV typically means 193 nanometers, argon fluoride, ArF, and gets extra resolving power through immersion and multi-patterning. Tie terms to nodes. EUV is common from roughly N7, N5 onward and central at N5, N4, N3, N2. DUV dominates 28 to 130 nanometers and supports specialty tech. Even at advanced nodes, many layers still run on ArF immersion, ArFi, while EUV tackles the densest layers. Clear mapping keeps technology, schedules, and costs aligned. Use EUV for leading-edge logic ramps like N5, N4, N3, N2, where critical layers need extreme resolution. It's especially valuable for dense SRAM and logic layers, cutting mask counts by replacing complex multi-patterning with fewer EUV exposures. Calling out EUV signals a premium tool mix, higher average selling prices, ASPs for equipment, and often improved cycle time due to fewer patterning steps. It also implies higher capex intensity, tighter process control, and potential throughput constraints tied to source power. If the narrative is about top node performance and mask reduction, say EUV explicitly. Use DUV when discussing mature nodes like 28 to 130 nanometers and most specialty processes. DUV covers lithography for power devices, display drivers, CMOS image sensors, CIS, and many memory layers that don't need EUV resolution. Emphasize cost efficiency. DUV tools are less expensive, widely available, and ideal for capacity additions and cost-sensitive products. Even in advanced fabs, many non-critical layers stay on ArFi or even KrF. Saying DUV highlights pragmatic scaling, more wafers, solid yields, and predictable economics without implying the premium complexity of EUV. Name the class. For EUV, cite NXE, current high-volume EUV, and EXE, next-gen high-NA. Note that source power and NA strongly affect throughput and resolution. For DUV, distinguish ArF immersion, ArFi, from RF-KrF dry systems. Immersion boosts numerical aperture and resolution, while dry excels for less critical layers at lower cost. Avoid vague phrases like advanced tools. Instead, state the platform and patterning method so listeners infer masks, cycle time, and capex. Specific tool names instantly communicate maturity, capability, and likely step counts. Be precise. Say layer count on EUV rather than uses EUV. For example, this N3 flow runs 4 EUV layers. The rest are ArFi. Compare mask reductions versus multi-patterning. Fewer EUV masks can replace complex double/quadruple patterning, improving yield and cycle time. Always link lithography choice to economics. Fewer steps mean fewer defects and rework. DUV heavy flows mean lower tool ASPs, but potentially more masks and queuing. Concrete numbers, layers, masks, and impacts on yield, cycle time, and cost per wafer beat generic enthusiasm every time. Use statements that communicate node, layers, and tools. Clear. 3-5 EUV layers in the N3 ramp. The remaining critical layers on ArFi. Clear. 28 nanometers capacity adds are driven by KrF, with ArFi reserved for tighter metal. Avoid vague blends like EUV demand up as mature nodes grow. That mixes regimes and misleads on tool mix. Better. Mature node expansion is primarily KrF FRF. EUV demand tracks N5, N3 logic ramps, and SRAM. These patterns help your audience infer mask counts, cycle time, and capex without guessing. Match wavelength to node and layer function. EUV for top node critical layers, DUV for mature nodes and non-critical layers at every node. Name tool class and patterning method. Say NXE/EXE, ArFi, ArF dry, KrF, and whether it's single or multi-patterning. Quantify layers, not hype. State EUV layer count, mask reductions, and tie choices to yield, cycle time, and cost. Do this, and your commentary will be clear, credible, and genuinely useful to both technical and financial audiences.